deeper and deeper I go, I find what it is I should know. 'Cause it's just a matter of time that you'll reawaken your mind. Oh, come with me, come to know and find out what is true. Then you'll know what's in store just for you. No more living a lie. I can look to the sky and say I'm reawakening mine. Come to know and find out what is true, yes. Then you'll know what's in store just for you. No more living a lie. I can look to the sky and say I'm reawakening mine.
Happy Holy Day, Moors. House of Reawakening Minds exists to provide for exploration and practice of spirituality in an enlightened community dedicated to honoring the myriad of sacred pathways to the universal creator. We are a holistic center for spiritual grounding, free thought, self-discovery, and Moorish science, an awakening experience for all ages. Tonight, we are pleased to present once again our brother, Abdullah El-Talib Mosi Bey.
Happy Holiday, Moors. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This evening we are going to do something a little different. We have with us our brother Abdullah El-Talib Mosi Bey. We decided to kind of switch it up from more of a lecture to a Q&A interview where we're going to kind of go a little bit in depth into some questions and also get the audience participation. As you can see, our topic for this evening is America versus United States citizen. Make America great again. We hope that you will continue to join with us throughout the evening as we go and kind of peel some layers of this onion and get into the truth. But what I'll do first, I introduce myself. My name is Tamara L. I am with House of Reawakening Minds.
The administrator.
I would say more of the project manager, the administration. I wear lots of hats at House of Reawakening Minds. It has been a pleasure to be with House of Reawakening Minds for almost 2 years now, as I have increased my studies and knowledge of nationality, birthright, etymology, history, law, everything. So it's an honor to be sitting right next to my brother, Abdullah El-Talib Mosi Bey. He's the author of Moors and Masonry. We have here moorsandmasonry.org. You can also, you have Masonic compass and square and their connection to measurement and timekeeping. This is another one of Abdullah's book that you can also find online at moorsandmasonry.org. And we have also, Brother Abdullah is also the author of Etymology and Vocabulary, one of the bestseller books that he's had for how many years?
14.
For 14 years. Okay, so we're going to get into that. So, I'm not going to introduce Brother Abdullah. He's going to introduce himself. So, let's get started. The first thing I'd like to do is, let's get into how do you define your name, your appellation through this movement. How did you define your appellation?
I was at a Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Dr. Khalid, may he ascend in peace. Dr. Khalid Muhammad at the Via Chorus Center spoke, and they had vendors there. This was 1993, and he was there at the Via Chorus Center, Temple University campus in Philadelphia. And after the program, I bought from one of the vendors an African and Arabic name book. By the way, I ended up finding that book. I ended up finding that book and I was cleaning out my mother's house in January. People know my mom transitioned, and I hadn't seen the book in a couple of years. And I said, "Oh man, I thought the book was lost," and I finding it. And so I was looking through the book, and I wanted to find names that fit what I was striving to be. So of course, to leave stuck out. I mean, seeker. And I said, "Oh man, I'm seeking knowledge and truth." So that name would be, all right, good for me. And Mosey was easy because I'm the firstborn of 3 children. I have 2 sisters. So that was easy for me, so that's something that I can identify with. And then of course I wanted to have both Il and Bay in the name. So then I saw Abdullah, servant of Allah. That's, but Allah is actually the moon, or Alat. So I said, well, I want to be a servant for the people. It's more that I want to be a servant for the people. And I see myself as that, as a servant for the people. And so servant was that was when I connected. And then Brother Jamal, Dre's uncle, was in Jimmy's barbershop, Dre's grandfather's barbershop, and Jamal helped me configure the order.
Oh.
All right, Dre's uncle. So Abdullah Il to their Mosi Bay. That's how that came about.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you wanted L and Bay in your name, your appellation. Okay, there's sometimes some distortion and chatter about having both L and Bay in appellation. Could you give us some clarification on that? When one say, well, you're not supposed to carry both L and Bay in your appellation.
I've heard that. I don't know the epistemology, means the branch of philosophy, how one knows knowledge. I'll be looking at the feminine and masculine principle, the Il representing the feminine principle, the Bay is actually a Moorish title of government, a Moorish provincial officer, Bay being the masculine principle. So I wanted both the masculine and the yin and yang in my name. I want to connect to both the principles, the yin and yang, or the negative ion and the positive ion. You have a battery. You have the negative, which is women. Women are negative ion, and males are positive ion. Right?
Okay. I'm always going to go other people with that.
Absolutely.
You said women. One would listen to that and read that and rewind and say, oh, so women are negative?
Yes, we are. Women are negative.
Okay, explain that.
Because of social engineering, and people have not been taught the metaphysical sciences, study of ontology, which is the study of existence, study of nature. And we've been conditioned to view the word negative as bad. We associate the word negative with the word bad, which is not correct. That's connotation. Looking at the concept of nature, we have the negative ions. Women are negative in the field of electricity. So you have your negative pole and your positive pole. Women being the yin and the males being the yang. And then, there's the negative pole being the female. All right? And the more negative ions you have, because you want more negative ions, then, you have your alkaline, your pH balance. So you want more negative ions than you want them positive.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Just a comment. I just wanted to say it's interesting when Sister Tamara said how some people associate negative with the word bad.
Yes.
The interesting thing is that etymologically, bad does mean feminine or effeminate. Anyway, so negative in that sense.
All right.
I'm sitting here putting the connection together. It's not a bad thing when it's when it's associated in the right context.
What is the etymology of bad, Dr. Nayan?
Well, one of the words would be effeminate. Effeminate or
Feminine,
female, feminine.
feminine traits.
Feminine traits.
For the word bad?
Yes.
All right.
That's why when Michael was saying, I'm bad, I'm really, really bad, it was interesting that he was very effeminate-like in his mannerism.
Wow. It also says soft in the definition.
Soft.
Yes.
The etymology of bad is feminine, soft. And the great thing about this today is we're going to get to things that can be verifiable. So don't take my word, Abdullah, the audience, go verify it for yourself. So bad. So it's okay to yin and yang for both gender roles. Brother Abdullah?
Yeah, yes, and you know that the gender. Let's look at the word gender because it comes from. It means you have the Greek word Genesis, generation. All right, so gender is means creation, right, production. The GEN is the root word, as in the word Genesis. GEN being the root word. So. So gender, so they're using the word gender in a connotative manner, right? But the ultimate gender would be the man, which is woman. The word man comes from the word humanity, the Greek word humanity, all right? And it's been shortened to the word man. But so the first man is woman. And she's the first man. You have let me give you further information on that. The leakies. And I was about 30 years ago in Time magazine, they did a study on a skeletal remain that they named Lucy. And they named Lucy, the word Lucy in Latin means light. So Lucy, so that what their leakies was saying is that this skeletal remain, female skeletal remain, is the light of the world. They showed that mitochondria can be traced to what they call the African woman. The leaky's named Lucy. So there's only one race. This whole modern multi-race, that is socially engineered by Linnaeus, Francois Bonner. In fact, Francois Bonner in the 1600s studied in India. He studied in India for a couple of years, and he studied the caste system. So the modern race, the origin of this modern race paradigm comes from the caste system of India. All right. So that's studied by Francois Bonner. And Johann Frederick Linnaeus in the 1700s was a Swedish nationalist. He actually expanded on the study. And then his protege, Johann Frederick Umbach. So this multi-racism, races, many races, what race are you? No one needs to ask that question. No one needs to ask what race are you, because there's only one race. Why would you ask somebody what their race is? There's only one race. There's only one race.
Great. So let's I know we're going to get more into that, but let's get back into your journey. Let's get back into the introduction of Abdullah, because I know he'll take you down the road. So, and you know, the beautiful thing about this is it's a great experience to be here, because my introduction to nationality, it started with one person, Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. Simple question: what do you know about nationality? So give hats off to Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Abdullah Bey. You know, you think about the seeds that are planted. Also, you know, I had seeds as well planted from Ras Mariah Bey. I also had seeds planted from a lot of, people that I've seen online that speaks about Moorish nationality. Dr. Naima Gilliam as well, another seed. But, I'm not gonna say but, however, I've been also in a fortunate position to be of the tutelage of Brother Abdullah Bey and continue to go further and deeper into my studies. So, as he's journeyed further than I have, I want to go into the journey of your consciousness and of this Moorish National Divine Movement and how your connection into it. From where I know I've heard your story of you almost been in a pulpit. So can we kind of start with, being kicked out of the church and things of that nature in your connection and your journey?
Yes. When I was in graduate school, Rutgers University Graduate School of Social Work, I became more connected with the church. I would even call my pastor during, maybe every once a week. And then when I graduated in May 1993, they brought me on as the youth leader. Became the youth leader of the church that I was attending. My mom had attended the church, my grandmother, my aunt, one of my aunts attended the same church. So we all attended the same church, even my older sister. So I became very active, I developed programs for the youth. During the church service, while the pastor was giving the sermon, I took the children downstairs, and I actually gave a lesson during the sermon section. Then I started studying with Dre. Y'all know who Dre is, but Tamara and Dr. Naima know who Dre is. Dre's uncle, Dre's grandfather. And we had part of a study group in May of 1993. So we had classes every Monday, and that opened up my eyes, to a certain level of what religion is. And then I began to see that the imagery that they used in the church was distorted, was used to suppress our minds, that this European figure, So I started becoming more aware through studying and reading. And then certain things wasn't easy with me. I started asking questions with my pastor and his assistant, wife, who was the assistant pastor at the time. And I recall saying to them, we had a meeting with them, and I said, they had a pastor that was a guest pastor, and he said that Jesus is no color. And that's connotative, but I'm just quoting him. Jesus is no color, and I'll clarify all that. And then, so they had a picture of this European image. So I said to my pastor and his wife in a meeting, I scheduled a meeting with them. I said, you had a pastor here that said Jesus is no color. And I asked them, well, what is your take on it? Because his pastor said, he brought this pastor in, he said Jesus is no color. So what is your perspective? And they said they tend to take the perspective that Jesus is no color. And I said, well, there was on Wednesday night, they had a movie night at the church here, and they were showing a documentary of this European image that they call Jesus. So why would you take the position that Jesus is no color, then allow a movie, because he's a pastor, so you allow it. You allow a movie to be shown with an image that they call Jesus. If you say Jesus is no color, then you never show image.
Yeah, it's time for you to go.
And you never show image. You never show no image. You never show no image, no tracks, no picture, no anything, no image. That's your position.
Yes, sir. It was like, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to get up out of here.
Yes. So, surely, of course, That was my way out. A month later, I ended up, maybe a couple weeks later, I ended up leaving. But they already knew that was coming.
Okay. Okay, so, and so your connection as you transition from so it was like a death, so I'm gonna say transition. As you transition from the doctrines of man into the consciousness of your nationality, what was that like? You know, you've been on this journey for like over 20 years?
27.
27 years. And you've seen a lot of things.
Yes. What is my journey like? It's been wonderful. I worked with Taj for several years. You and I worked closely together. I met Taj in October of 1993. If I can remember the same year I met my real father a month before. I met my real father before meeting Taj a month before. And then, working with him, because he and I were on the same page as far as getting work done. So it was easy to work with him because we were about getting work done. We were so focused. And I was thinking about this today. I recall people saying that I was an old man. Because I hung around. I used to hang around with Dre's uncle. But then I drifted that away, and then it was Taj, Wayama, and Aline. Taj was 23 years older than me. Mm-hmm. Wayama was, he transitioned, he was about 16 years older than me, And then Aline was about 30 years older than me. And these were my road dogs. I'm in my 20s. They were my road dogs. I didn't hang around with people in my 20s.
You was an old soul.
They were my road dogs. I'm serious. So you have brothers who already married, divorced, widowed. So people are 30 years older than me, 25 years older than me. Those who I hung out with. So I was ultra focused. And that focus actually spawns back to when I was 9 years old, actually. I saw Roots. I saw the entire series of Roots when I was 9 years old. And that, I would say, Roots, that really did it for me. Because it was during the time I was watching Roots, when I became focused that I wanted to do something for our people. I had never heard or read anything about slavery, trafficking, none of that. And it wasn't until 9 years old I wanted to do something for our people. So it was easy for me to gravitate to a top city bank. And so I became very focused at a young age.
Now, would you say this journey, 27 years, has it been easy or hard for you?
I had up and downs. I would say relationships. Just trying to balance relationships. That was challenging. With I was ultra focused. This is how these books came about, because I'm ultra focused. So just trying to balance that, relationship. I think that was really an area, right there, that was challenging for me, because, being criticized about my involvement in the movement, attacking what I was about in this movement, that was really, and I thank you for that, because people don't know that about me. They don't get a chance, because I don't get a chance to tell my story, So when I hear, brothers, I recall brothers coming to the roundtable class, and they're talking about, trying to explain this to their girlfriend or wife. And I can see the pain in their face and hear it in their voice. They really are sincere. They want to, they found this newfound knowledge, and they want to share it with their wife or their girlfriend, because they know that if they know that this will create a conflict if their wife or girlfriend didn't be on board with them.
Right.
And so I've had that, and I know that. Oftentimes, the brother would choose the relationship over the movement. I've seen that many times. You know, with me, I choose the movement over the relationship. I choose the movement over the relationship. Because I'm looking, you know, and I want people to know that about me. I guess they don't. They don't know that about me, you know, so I choose the movement over the relationship because I see this movement as being the salvation for our people. And I see myself, because you have to know yourself. You have to know why you're here. I know why I'm here. I see myself as a key cog in this Moorish movement. And so I'm not going to allow a relationship to stop my development, my growth, and my reaching out to our people. This is bigger than a relationship.
No,
That's my view on it, and I have to maintain that view.
So, are you married to the movement?
I would say yes, and I would say yes.
Wait a minute. So, does that open up for any loved ones to come in? How does that work when you're married to the movement? Because I know
It does.
I know we've had great leaders throughout the years, and when you saw a lot of these great leaders, you saw them with their consort such as, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad. And I would say that they were married to the form of the movement as well. But however, they allowed the portal of love to still come in. Do you still leave that portal of love open?
Yes, to someone who will support me and not put me down, not attack what I'm about, not attack this movement. Once they attack this movement, there's no relationship.
Abdullah's out. All right, so here we are. We have Abdullah El Talib Bozane, the introduction of himself. I think that's great to know. So now we're going to really get into this topic of discussion for this evening. America. Go ahead and sip your water. America, a question, versus United States citizen. Question. Hashtag make America great again. I know we hear that slogan. We've heard it before. I was younger, but it's been heard before through Ronald Reagan during his campaign. And it's recently being heard now with the current United States Service Corporation Chief of Commander Trump, President Trump. It's his slogan of which that was adopted from Ronald Reagan. So I know you're going to go deeper into that. And there's been also, of all things, the morphing of the word "Make America Great Again" being assigned a negative connotation. And it also makes you think, you know, they come from a church, either kicked out the church, ran out the church, and things of that nature. But however, there's still great scriptures in there. There's still good knowledge in there as well. But it also states, you know, some things that are meant for evil could be used for your good. Vice versa, things are meant for good, used for evil. So we're going to get into that part. So, Abdullah, America. Let's start with America. Let's define the geographical landmass of America. And the reason why we want to do this is kind of slow walk this because I saw this as a way to reach out not only to our conscious Moors who are very aware and have studied of these things, but we also have to reach into the hearts and minds of our loved ones, our kinfolks, who are not looking at this in the same epistemology, viewpoint, lens as we are now looking at these things. So that way they can press pause, Google, look it up, and say, okay, wow, where do I go from here with this information? Let me bring my children and sit my children down on the sofa or what have you, and kind of revisit these things that are not properly being taught in the American school system. So America, define the geographical landmass of America.
All right, so because of the European social engineering, when we hear the statement, make America great again, people think that they're talking about this geography here. All right? America. Make America great again. They think that the word America is only limited to this geography. All right? That's because of European social engineering. We have our brothers and sisters, you know, our Moors who think they're Jamaicans, our Moors who think they're Haitians, will often say, "Oh, I can't wait to leave America and go back to Haiti." Or, "I've been in America for 3 years." If you're around Moors who think they're Jamaicans, you're going to hear that type of talk all the time. That, "I've been in America for only 3 years. I've been in America for 4 years. You know, I can't wait to leave America and go back home." You hear that type of talk. All right? Why do we hear that? Because of European social engineering. They limit the geography, only to this landmass. When the name America represents all of North America, Central America, South America, and the adjoining islands. That is America. You don't need to put the S by it. Throw the S in the trash.
Okay.
Throw this in the trash. The Americas. Throw that in the trash. Throw that in the trash. You don't need to say the Americas. Say America. Why the Americas? All right, because they're trying to make a distinction from this landmass to North, Central, South America. They'll say North, Central, South America. The Americas. America. North, Central, South America. The Americas. America. That's birthright theft. So this whole border crap is because of the social engineering. That goes back to the Monroe Doctrine. President Monroe in 1826 introduced the Monroe Doctrine. And then the Monroe Doctrine was that the United States colonial powers was to make what could interfere in the affairs of the American states. That there would be a war in Jamaica, a war in Haiti. You know, if France or Russia or Japan were to invade Haiti, or Japan or Jamaica or El Salvador or Costa Rica, that the United States colonial power would step in. That's the Monroe Doctrine. So they were under the Monroe Doctrine. They're making the claim. So this is what so when they say make America great again, that's tied to the Monroe Doctrine of them making the claim of the entire Western Hemisphere. That's where that's tied in from. So people don't make that connection to the Monroe Doctrine. So this is where the concept of, you know, we America, but they're still our birthright. That's identity theft. All right?
Okay. What about Cuba?
What about Cuba?
Cuba, you know, women say, hey, you know, Cuba declared their nationality. Fidel Castro nationalized Cuba.
All right, that's a good question. So that's
because we said North America, South America, the adjoining islands. So that entire landmass is America. So factor in, you have Cuba. And government said, well, you know, hey, Haiti is independent. You know, Cuba, Fidel Castro declared Cuba's nationality. But you're saying it's a part of America.
Right. Well, when they say Fidel Castro nationalized Cuba, they're talking about in the political sense of sovereign power, where Fidel Castro, you know, claimed the oils, and then also he claimed because there were Europeans who were gambling there. European corporations had control of the resources, so Fidel Castro kicked them out and claimed, you know, the resources for Cuba. But let's talk about nationalization in its true sense, because the people were not nationalized. So Fidel Castro did not nationalize the people, because Cuban is not their nationality. Moor is their nationality. So to truly nationalize, you have to first declare your Moorish nationality, which they did not. They're not Cubans. They're not El Salvadorians. They're not Colombians. Their pedigree, genealogy, blood lineage, their blood connection is Moor, not Cuban. That's modern, but that's not their blood. They have no blood tied to that at all. That is a political fiction that's modern, that was created in the 1800s. So is El Salvador. So is Costa Rica, Dominica. That's St. Dominique. So they're named after their conqueror. The president of the Philippines, so that's in another area, but the president of the Philippines is nationalizing. That is a true nationalization act, because the current president of the Philippines clearly stated that the name Philippine comes from King Philip of Spain. That's their conqueror. They're Moors. That is an act of true nationalization. By what? Claiming their blood tie. That's what the president of Philippines is doing, claiming the blood tie. Fidel Castro didn't do that. He didn't claim the blood tie. It's Moor, not Cuban, not Dominican, not El Salvadorian, not Argentinian. They're Moors. And in the coat of arms of El Salvador, Nicaragua, Haiti, Costa Rica, and a few others, you see the Moorish fez, salt fez, and a pyramid. They are clearly, in the symbolic sense, through their coat of arms, which is a representation of their heraldry and symbolism, claiming their Moorish ancestry. That's the ultimate claim through blood.
Now, what nations you define like the geographical landmass of America? Now, what nations are currently usurping American sovereignty?
All right, Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, and Great Britain are the nations. Let's go back. Let's go back to 1492. In 1492, Thanksgiving. The reason why I'm making this connection. We already know that the harvest is celebrated, the true harvest is in October. That's the true harvest. Now, why did Lincoln, through a political proclamation, and you can't move the harvest? A paper, how you gonna move the harvest? So, why is Thanksgiving, why did Lincoln, through a proclamation, presidential proclamation, authorize that Thanksgiving be celebrated on the third Thursday of of November, because it will always be close to the November 25th. Why November 25th? I'll do a question. November 25th, 1492, is the day that Abdullah, the last Moorish king of Europe, was forced to surrender Granada through a treaty. That's called the Treaty of Granada, signed on November 25th, 1492. That is major. That is major. That was, though we still maintain power, to maintain control of the sea. I have this in Moors Masonry, but 1492 is November 25th, 1492. The Treaty of Granada is one of the most powerful treaties in modern world history, because that ended Moorish rule of Europe, and that turned the tides. And notice, after 1492 is when European colonization began in America. Portugal, Spain, going back to Portugal, so that's still current. Keep in mind, still current, because that's all under papacy. Portugal, Spain, Great Britain, Netherlands, and France are under the papacy. They're not separate. If you do research, you'll see when a king was coronated or crowned, the Pope was the one that crowned the king or queen. When a knight order had to be authorized, and authorized by the Pope. That power is still there. So you have to look at history and how these, this is one power. Please don't separate it. You know, Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, and the papacy. No. So it is the papacy, all right? With you have their tentacles, Spain, Portugal, France, because it was Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, and England that united their forces against the Moors and defeated the Moors during the Crusades. They launched the Crusades against the Moors, us, in 1090. They united their forces against us. You got to connect history. You can't start with 1770. Because your analysis and your conclusions are going to be off. You have to look at this chronologically. You have to make connections to the past and to the present.
Okay, now you just stated something, and I just want a little bit clarification of that. You said one world power. One world power.
Well, the one world power is the Moorish power. All right, you have one world power because great question. The sovereign power that the Europeans are exercising is Moorish power.
Now,
St. Peter's.
Right. Now, you hear one say, the Europeans coined one world power with domination. So continue. I don't mean
No, absolutely not.
Wisdom.
No, all right. Good, absolutely not. What they're doing is maintaining the one world order. They didn't create the one world order. Let me explain. You have different ancient sites, pyramids, throughout the parts of the world. And those pyramids are connected through ley lines. So there is a cosmological connection to these various dynasties. So the concept of the one world order, one world power is ancient. The Albions are maintaining that concept. We're looking at how they say things, but we don't know the origin of anything. We don't know who we are. These structures were already set up. The Europeans didn't set anything up. The power that's wielded in the Catholic Church That's Moorish sovereignty. The hat, the mitre that the substitute pope wears is a head carpet crown, what they call the Egyptian crown. The seat of St. Peter's, the title Pope and Peter is the Egyptian title Ptah. So they're exercising ancient sovereignty. They didn't create that. They simply usurped it. That's where I'm coming from.
Now, that's a usurp. Can we define that? Because I'm seeing that word, once it was the word conquered, and then you hear the word colonize. Can we get into the definition of the word usurp? Because I think the word usurp is more fitting. I can recall watching I love Netflix. I just love Netflix. Yeah, you got a shout out. And there's this, I just had a brain fart. And there's this episode. It's called Caesar's Vigorous, the Vigorous family. And it's called, in the subtitle, it say, the #1 crime family. And it deals with the Vatican, the order of the Vatican, and their role that they play in domination. And I remember this particular scene, and after I heard it, I had to pause and I had to take a video clip of it, replay it, until I made sure I heard the correct thing. And they were sitting around, and some of the what would they be called? The barristers or the clergymen. They were sitting in a room that they had just left the meeting with the Pope. And one of the popes were being excommunicated. So when a pope is excommunicated, their land is taken, their riches is taken from them, and they was like, "Oh no, you're going to sign this order." They was talking about a new papal order. They was like, "Oh no, you're going to sign. You're going to be a part of this because he's not going to usurp my family. He's not usurping my family." I was like, "Wait a minute. What is this word usurp?" Because most of us come from the Rockefeller education system, and we have not heard that word usurp. So let's get into the word usurp, because when I looked up the definition, I said I think it's more befitting than conquer or colonization. So let's get into the word usurp.
If you're talking about power, you would have to use the word usurp. If we're talking about sovereign power, the proper word to use is usurp. We have here usurp, verb, take a position or power, as an example, a position or power or importance illegally or by force. As an example, Richard usurped the throne. So that's the throne is what? Sovereign power. That's sovereign power. So if you're talking about the word conquer, you would talk about either conquering the people, all right, but usurping would be sovereign power, a position, an office of high importance. So the Albions have usurped our sovereignty. This is worldwide. So they've traded places with us. They wear our garb, because the garb represents our nobility. So the pictures we see in textbooks, Rockefeller again, that's Moorish garb. George Washington, you cannot show me a picture of George Washington wearing some Albion garb. You can't show in the textbooks. You can't show me a picture of Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine and all Hobbes and Locke, wearing some Albion garb. That's Moorish garb. That's a royal status with the 2-inch heels, with the buckles. The heels represent sovereignty, royal status, with the pendulums. But once again, we don't know ourselves. So they usurp even the garb, because that's also the hair. Once they scalp the hair. So in the House of Lords, you have the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The House of Lords are the Moorish nobility. They're the amalgamated noble line. All right? And the House of Commons are the peasants. Common means peasant. So you don't want to be a common. You don't want to be common. You don't want to be common. I'm not common. Don't call me common. I'm a noble. Common means peasant. Of low class, low rank. All right? That's a common. Vulgar. Don't call me vulgar. Vulgar means common. Low class. So you have what they call classical Latin. That's for the nobility. And vulgar Latin. That's for the commoners, the peasants. The House of Lords and the House of Commons. The House of Lords are the nobles, Moorish nobles, and the House of Commons are the peasantry. That's what it is today. So those in the barristry, they represented their Moorish nobility, Moorish line. They have the Moorish, they wear the wigs. Once again, we don't know who we are. These African scholars, they don't teach on this. They teach that we came on ship somewhere. So they were saying out this whole sovereign power. Oh, that's the European thing. We got to get back to our African roots, heritage. No, that's our African roots and heritage. We're Moors.
Okay. Any questions before we get off America? Well, we're not going to go off America, but we're going to go deeper into any questions?
Well, usurp to use would be another form of subrogation, right? Since they usurp the power, now they can subrogate since they're making all the banking, the rules, everything from that.
They wouldn't see this is all right. That's a good question.
Repeat
But
the question again?
Usurp has a lineage to use, so I would think they usurp the power to start to utilize the things put in place to take care of all the people, to use that power to only take care of a few of the people. You usurped all of the resources, all of that Moorish, everything that was put together, and now you're going to usurp it to use a form of subrogation to put things in place so you co-op into it, but you're not benefiting because you don't know how to apply any of the things on your side. Hence the nobles versus the commoners.
Okay, so I guess it will be is usurpation being utilized as a form of subjugation. Did I get subjugation?
Subrogation.
Subrogation. Okay. Ooh, the tongue is wicked today. You can erase the top part.
Supplication. They do this with this is what they do with mortgages. Supplication. Student loans, all that. So each state has in a statute supplication. And this can be used as legal defense. Subrogation. So he's saying that through subrogation they're usurping your rights. They're using the word usurping. Now, once again, I would use usurp regarding, power. That power would be sovereign power. Sovereign power. Or a throne. We're just saying it's the sovereign power. Right? Sovereign power. We're talking throne, we're talking sovereign power. Because that sovereign power is an ultimate power. So not subordinate under another earthly. So this is supreme power, not subordinate under earthly power. So we're talking about the ambiance usurping our national sovereignty. That's a very powerful claim that we make. Because they're traded places with us. They claim to be the founders. They claim to be running a government. They are running a government. The Moorish government. They are running a government. The Moorish government. You have a corporation that is running. They're not running a corporation. Let me clear this out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Please
Yeah,
hear me.
get into it.
Hear me out. They are a corporation, yes. I'm not disputing that. But they're not running a corporation. They're running the Moorish government. When the United States negotiate treaties, that's not an act of a corporation. A corporation is doing that, but that's not corporation power. That is government sovereign power. To negotiate treaties is sovereign power. To set up embassies and consulates all over the world is not corporation power. That is sovereign power. Whose sovereign power? The Moors' sovereign power. This is why they have on the back of the Federal Reserve note, someone have their note, please. Because they're recognizing the Moors' sovereign power. That's why Roosevelt had them instructed this to be put on, the Great Seal to be placed on the note. Because this is the power. This is the power. So they have to recognize the sovereign power. They are doing that. They have you have the Shriners, you have the mystics. They wear our Moors crosses. They use our names. They use Moorish names for their temples. So they're what? Recognizing the sovereign power and claiming it. So since we're not claiming it, because most of our people classified as black, Negro, colored, they're claiming it. So once again, a corporation is not, they're not running a corporation. A corporation is running the Moorish government. I'm saying it again. A corporation is running the Moorish government. A corporation is not running a corporation. A corporation is running the Moorish government. When they sit in, and you could turn to C-SPAN and CNN, you see the House of the Senate, House of Representatives, 100 senators, 435 representatives. That's Moorish government. A corporation, once again, they're trading place with us. A corporation, that's legislative power. So a corporation, United States corporation, is exercising Moorish legislative power. Supreme Court judges. A corporation is exercising Moorish judicial power. Donald Trump, substitute of pure Diane, is exercising, Moorish, the highest Moorish executive power. They're not running a corporation. And we keep, we got to, and I keep hearing nationalized Moors. United States is a corporation. Yes, but that's meaningless. Because you're not finishing it. You're not finishing it. Finish the sentence. Please finish the sentence. Finish the sentence. Let me help you finish the sentence. United States is a corporation that, adjective clause, United States is a corporation, adjective clause, that is running the Moorish government. Please add an adjective clause. Don't use a simple sentence. Use a complex sentence. United States is a corporation. That's a complex, a simple sentence. No, I want you to use a complex sentence. Alright? So we have an independent clause and a dependent clause. That running the Moorish government is a dependent clause and adjective clause. Alright? Moorish nation, the United States is a corporation, adjective clause, which is the dependent clause that is running the Moorish government. Please add the dependent clause, adjective clause that is running the Moorish government. Because you got to make the connection. You got to make the connection in your mind. It has to be solid in your mind. Because it's like, that's almost like a disconnect. United States corporation, because you thinking you turn to C-SPAN and then you don't see yourself as that. You don't see yourself in those seats. That's what they want you to do.
Because they're vacant, right?
When
I say vacant, I mean vacant by the Moors.
By the Moors.
Correct.
Moors. And Maxine Waters, since she is not nationalized publicly, I don't want to hear somebody say, I don't want to hear anyone say
She's a Moor.
I don't want anyone to
She
say
is. She's a Moor.
she's nationalized in secret. That means nothing. Our people don't know that she's nationalized. Our people call her a black woman. She ain't Maxine Bay. They call her a black woman. And she ain't clearing that up. So she has no self-authority. She's a subject.
You know, let's do this because what I like about your book, Moors and Masonry. Moors and Masonry, is this considered the preface part of it? Is that the preface?
No, what I did was I had this is in the body, and I wanted to have it two
Okay,
locations.
well, as soon as you open the book,
Yes.
let me just read this. Moors and Masonry. This is part 1. Part 2 will probably be out next year.
Yep.
Probably do the
Next year.
next year. We won't say that next year.
Yeah, next year.
Okay, so this is Moors and Masonry Part 1. You can purchase this book online at moorsandmasonry.org. As soon as you open the book up, what I love about this book is say the United States, European occupational and colonial power misrepresented as, quote, the government functions the imperial divan of the Moorish government. Now the word divan is replaced with the word currently being used, department. So you can, if you would, could you just put the word divan equal department on the board?
Presidential cabinet.
Yes. Okay. Now, United States, European occupation and colonial power functions the Moorish imperial divan under the term presidential cabinet. So the presidential cabinet equals the imperial divan. The imperial divan. So the departments are under the imperial divan. Now the grand wizard, it can be, there's several derivatives of the spelling. W-A-Z-I-R, V-I-Z-I-E-R, or V-I-Z-I-R. It's the head of the imperial divan. So currently, President Trump is the Grand Wazir. He's a substitute Grand Wazir. Okay, so the Grand Wazir is the most powerful member of the Sultan's Divan cabinet. The Grand Divan largely oversees all the executive function of the Moorish government. The United States, European occupation and colonial power replaced the Moorish title Grand Wazir with title President. So, Grand Wazir equal President.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how they've traded places with us. The ancient Arabic order of the nobles of Mr. Shrine has adopted the term imperial divan and used this as the structure of the organization. So what I'm doing is showing how they're substituting and usurping our government and our national sovereignty. So we're not going to just give up our government to them. Alright? So we have to, how do we claim it? We have to be ourselves. Alright?
And then,
And organize our people to govern structure. Let's let me clear that,
Yes.
because this loose, doing things by itself, crap, we gotta kill that. We have to organize the people into government structure. Comprehending the principles of international norms and jurisprudence. We talk about enforcing treaties, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and other treaties. It can't be done in this loose format. It must be done in a national government structure. So you're not going to be recognized if you're not structured correctly. Very important. So this loose, do things by yourself type thing, and Juali did not set, he didn't lead, that was not the direction.
This is why Juali established what? The Okanai Temple, he established institutions. He went to the 7th Pan American Conference in 1928 and represented our people. Of course, they killed him, less than a year later. Our father's sister killed him.
Within this presidential cabinet, I'm just going to go through the list of the departments, and we need to really, when Brother Abdullah talk about organizing, we need to look at these departments and see where we fit best in being a part of that department. So you have department, Divan, being a part of that Divan. So you have the Justice Department, Education Department, Interior Department, Agriculture Department, Commerce Department, Health and Human Services Department, Labor Department, Energy Department, Transportation Department, Veterans Affairs Department, Homeland Security Department, Housing and Urban Development Department. So that's what is meant about governmental structure. So there is 252 seats, more seats. When you think about the cabinet, the Senate, and the Senate and the Congress, the seats that are empty, the more seats that are empty that are occupied by substitutes. So those are seats that we as Moors need to study and see where we best fit in our skill sets to learn these areas and to build our national body politics, because as Brother Abdullah say, we are kind of a little wild and loose in the process, and the structure is missing. So
Yes.
I love the format and the understanding of the Moorish Emperor Daban and having a blueprint of how we are to organize our governmental structure and get back into place and be a part of the body of nations. Okay, so any more questions before we kind of start breaking down this word, United States citizen? I think that one's going to be our head low.
Any questions online?
Any questions online, Dr. Jean? You see comments? Okay.
What about comments? Comments are good too.
I don't have a mic, but
I don't hear the comments.
Ronnie here says,
Brother Yusuf Nasser Bey says this study class is an icing on the cake, as far as this being a holy day, Islamism. Ronnie Haynes Salave says United States of America is a corporation operating as government. He also said exactly, Brother Abdullah, public trader, not traitor, all subjects of Moorish descent in governmental positions, not correcting the record on the record for the record as Ali Day Bay Al L, bottom line. And that's about it. Mine isn't going back further. So.
Okay. All right, let's get into this United States citizen. So we talked about America. We talked about the geographical landmass of America. We talked about the usurpation of the nations that are currently usurping America and its sovereignty. And with that being said, it brings me also to this final question before we get into the United States. So you said usurpation, usurp power. So would one say that the Moors are cloaked in sovereign power versus if someone say, I'm a sovereign citizen? Can we kind of like look at that a little bit?
All right. the FBI and CIA, they created this term, sovereign citizen. They added the word sovereign citizen to the word sovereign. And they have prescribed definitions: anti-government, domestic terrorist, one who thinks he's above the law. They actually have definitions, a whole litany of definitions with the term sovereign citizen. The FBI and CIA, Homeland Security, have, if you look up the articles, and there's major newspapers have cloaked the Moorish movement, or classified the Moorish movement as a sovereign citizen movement, meaning that a domestic terrorist, anti-government, lawless, violent movement. All right? Now, the difference between the sovereignty, that when someone says, well, and you often see, you had European freedmen groups. So let's go back. European freedmen groups back in the 70s and 80s. Because that term, sovereign citizen, that term was not around when I got involved in 1993. That's the last, 8-9 years, sovereign citizen, that term. We had European freedmen groups, Europeans, or Albions. They were loosely using the word sovereign. I'm sovereign. I'm sovereign. That is to give you, what that came from. European freedmen groups, sovereign. I'm sovereign. We're sovereign people. Now, that claim is empty. To say that you're sovereign, you'll see, because they make this statement. You say China is sovereign, like the Chinese walk around in China saying, I'm sovereign. That makes no sense. So China is sovereign. Japanese walk around in Japan saying, I'm sovereign. No, Japan is sovereign. You want to push this sovereignty. Morocco is sovereign. Not, I'm sovereign. So it's really the misrepresentation. So the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, because of the European freedmen groups were making this claim that they're sovereign. So they, created the term sovereign citizen. And so they tagged that to the European freedmen groups, to try to suppress that development. And they started later tagging that to, because you have quite a few, this Moorish movement is really expanding, and, because of the social media, and there's a lot of activities going on. So the, FBI and Homeland Security and CIA is now tagging, us, with the term sovereign citizen. And they're also tagging us with Timothy McVeigh and them, and that blow people that the European Afghan men that blow up buildings and stuff and shoot and stuff like that. So they're tagging the whole thing. Oh yeah, they're very, very violent. Anti-government. They're lawless. Domestic terrorists. And so they actually clumped us with the European freedmen groups and also Timothy McVeigh and them. And it's going unchecked. We're gonna put that in check. So I want to be clear to nationalized Moors who hear me. It is improper to make the claim that you're sovereign. Morocco is sovereign. Let's clear this up. You cannot have this flag behind you, or carry this flag, or identify this flag with this flag in any manner and say that you're sovereign. Once you say that, you disconnected yourself from this flag. Because the sovereignty
The Moorish sovereignty is pre-existing. It's before you're born, way before you. So we are, when we talk about enforcing the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, we're making the claim that we are direct descendants of those who negotiated that treaty. So you have pre-existing treaties, a pre-existing sovereignty that we're connecting to. The Moorish fairs, the titles those invested in those titles is Moorish sovereignty. The treaty of peace between the Bey of Tripoli and the United States, 1797. The Bey of Tripoli. Bey is an office, so invested in that's more sovereignty. So there's you talk about a pre-existing government, a pre-existing national sovereignty. You can't say, I'm sovereign. That makes no sense. You don't even know what you're talking about. Morocco is sovereign. Morocco is sovereign. That's where that got. So you have that started with the European freedmen groups. Walking around saying, I'm sovereign, and sovereignty. Because the European freedmen groups, let me continue. The European freedmen groups, the Albions, that put out, that this is the United States Republic, that money is gold and silver, that the IRS is not part of the, that whole thing. Those are the European freedmen groups. They've been putting out that information out for years. They never make the nationality claim. They never make the claim that they're English, Irish, Scottish, German, French, Dutch, but the Moors are making the nationality claim. So the European freedmen groups, the Albions, are saying they're sovereign. The sovereignty is connected to their national body. Because sovereignty must be identified. That means nothing. What is it? Chinese sovereignty, Moroccan sovereignty, Russian sovereignty, English sovereignty, Irish sovereignty, French sovereignty, Nigerian sovereignty, Mexican sovereignty. What sovereignty are you talking about? You have to identify the sovereignty. All right? What I yield.
Okay, well, let's get into a United States citizen.
All right.
Let's get into that.
All right, so to clarify the term United States citizen, we're supposed to clarify the United States.
Right.
Now, you have in the preamble, you have the preamble United States citizen, we the people of the United States, which is Philadelphia. The headquarters is Philadelphia. That's the headquarters in Philadelphia. That's the original preamble of the United States. Philadelphia, not DC. Philadelphia. Then you have the United States Corporation, District of Columbia, 10 square miles. That's DC. You have another United States, New York, 8 square miles. So you have 3 United States you're working with. So you say, well, United States citizen. That's really not, unless you have to clarify what United States you're talking about. But then we have further, you go down, we have the original United States. All right? Before the preamble. So before the preamble of the United States, you have another United States. United Moorish States. United Moorish States. You have the Mexico. Mexico uses the term Estados Unidos Mexicanos, United States of Mexico. So you have the United Mexican States, which have been usurped. We know that California, no, that's Mexico. Nevada, California, New Mexico, that's Mexico. All right? That's part of the original United States of Mexico. So that's the original United States. So we got to clarify what the United States is before we go into what the United States citizen is. So then you have to say, well, you're a citizen of what? What? The preamble, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., 10 square miles, New York, 8 square miles. What's the citizen of what United States?
The original United States from the Moorish Empire, you could also say that's the American states, the Organization of American States.
All right. Yes, that's clear. Now, those American states are not original in their name. Cuba, Dominica, El Salvador, Haiti, Costa Rica, Venezuela. Those are not the original names. Those are not the original American states. In name. They are Moors. So they have not publicly declared their Moorish nationality. They claim to be Venezuelans, Argentinians, Salvadorians, Cubans, Colombians. Though they have in the coat of arms, some of them, identifying their Moorish heritage, all right, with the soft Moorish fast and the pyramid, but they have not verbally claimed, like the president of Philippines. So it's not an American state, but the president of Philippines, as an example, the president of Philippines is the only one that's claiming for the people the Moorish nationality. He said that Filipino is after what? King Philip. There were Moors. That is a public declaration of independence. That's a declaration of independence. For all the people.
Now, how was these charters granted in order for the Europeans to gain access to the Moorish land? Now, we talked about charters. I know in your book, Moors and Masonry, on page 105, you pretty much outline the process of what is a charter. And could you just give a brief understanding, understanding, however you got to stand it, of these charters? Because when you think of the word charter, you never think of it as a license, as permission, as anything to do with the connection of a governmental structure. I can recall when I was it was actually last year during my solo return, I was in the New York territory, New Haven, New York territory, and I was in this restaurant eating breakfast, and the European lady walked in, and she turned around and she had this book bag on, and her book bag read, "Colonization was a startup." I was like, oh my God.
I respect that.
It was so bold, and I'll post that clip also. I took a picture. I was like, I must take a picture of this. As she was standing in line, I was eating and looked up, and her book bag stated, "Colonization was a startup." Now, when we think of startup, we think of businesses, right? So let's get into this charter, this license, and how these charters came about in order to give the European access to the Moorish land and empire. So can we discuss that?
Yeah, first we're going to clear that the charter, in English charter or land grant, Portuguese land grant, Spanish land grant, they call to Dutch charter land grant, given to corporation. We have the Dutch West Indian Company, the Dutch East Indian Company, we have the Virginia Company, Plymouth Company, we have William Penn. All right, so we have some various companies. Charters were granted to individuals as well as to companies. The charter in no way conveyed ownership or sovereign claim over the land. So that doesn't, so you don't, so what it is that the Moorish estate is in a condition of abandonment. So they're guardians of our state. So because they have charters, English charters, land grants, and Dutch land grants and so forth, that doesn't give them sovereign claim over the land. So I want to make that clear too. Now, what we have, so let's go into, we have the Society versus New Haven. Society versus New Haven, I think is 1861, Supreme Court case, Society versus New Haven. There were pre-Revolutionary War treaties, Article 6 of the Constitution, United States Constitution, all contracts or engagement entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against this Constitution against the Confederation. All treaties made or shall be made shall be the supreme law of the land. So treaties are supreme law of the land. The Society versus New Haven, also you have Virginia versus Commonwealth of Virginia versus Society versus New Haven, and Commonwealth of Virginia versus I can't remember the whole thing. So anyway, they addressed the issue of pre-Revolutionary War treaties, and there was example. William Penn, King Charles II, that looked like me. King Charles II looked like me. A lot of these kings, they were not all looking like Donald Trump. That's another distortion. King Charles II owed a debt to William Penn's father. So and to pay the debt that Charles II owed to William Penn's father, he gave William Penn in 1701 a charter. William Penn established a ecclesiastical society, a corporation soul for the Quakers. That's 1701. That's an example of a pre-Revolutionary War, treaty. So those or act. So you gotta keep in mind the charters, the colonies were under the crown. You have Spanish colonies, you have Portuguese colonies, you have English colonies, you have Swedish colonies, you have German colonies, you have Dutch colonies. Alright? So these colonies were under the particular European governments. So William Penn, being under the crown, British English crown, he established this society under the authority of the English crown. Not under the authority of the United States, it didn't exist. So the Society versus New Haven addresses issues of pre-Revolutionary War treaty, because those issues had come up. And the Supreme Court ruled that the Revolutionary War did not abrogate the pre-Revolutionary War treaties, did not suspend the treaties. You have the Drake Jay Treaty of 1795. There were Europeans who were upset with John Jay, that's their unofficial name. They were upset because they thought they were independent. It's BS, they taught in school. Declaration of Independence, BS. It's BS.
So it's like
I'm explaining what that means.
British versus British.
I'm going to explain what BS, but I mean by BS. That's not intelligent. So when I say BS, that's the storyline they're given in the school. There's 1795 Jay Treaty. Europeans were upset with John Jay because they bought into that lie, the Declaration of Independence, and that they thought that they were free from Great Britain because of the story in the schools. They come to find out that that's not the case. Those treaties and those conditions, that had already been established before the Revolutionary War was still in effect, that the Supreme Court clearly ruled that the Revolutionary War did not suspend the pre-Revolutionary War treaties. So remember, the Supreme Court dealt with international norms and jurisprudence. International norms and jurisprudence. We talk about treaties. This is a serious matter. They're not dealing with that Rockefeller education BS. They gotta get down to real. They can't deal with Rockefeller education. Whatever about education, their Declaration of Independence, you know, the United States is totally free, walk away from Great Britain crap. That's what education. But the Supreme Court can't deal with that. All right, they gotta deal with international norms and jurisprudence. All right, so that's a good example. So did I clear that up for people?
Yes, because when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at like, okay, we have here in the book, we have Virginia Commonwealth. It was granted in 1607. What we know today as Virginia, the business of Virginia. You have also, let's just go down the line a little bit. You have Massachusetts colony, 1691. You have New Haven, New Hampshire colony, 1622. Now, we said charters and colonies, and I know there's also a breakdown between the word charters, colonies, and royal colonies, and that goes into the understanding of the citizenship. And you have also the New York colony, 1624. You have colony of New Plymouth, 1629. New Plymouth. What's the name of Plymouth today?
That united with Virginia.
Oh, see, didn't know that. So there was a colony, there was a business colony. So when you say colony, was that also considered the citizens that went up under that New Plymouth area?
Well,
or was just the business name set up?
No, the colony, they were British subjects.
British subjects.
Yeah, they weren't citizens of the colony. They were subjects of the British Crown. The colonies were under the British Crown, or if it was a Spanish colony, under the Spanish Crown, or a Portuguese colony, a Dutch colony, they were under the British Crown. The colony is a subdivision of the British Crown, or the Spanish Crown, or the French Crown, and they were renegades.
Yeah.
So there were renegades that broke away. They had no sovereignty. These are peasants. They were peasants. They had no self-authority, no sovereignty. They weren't, dukes or barons or earls or marquises or esquires or kings or they were you talk about commoners. So you have the commoners that are renegades that's on the run. And our people, the Lenape Moors, extended their arms, violated, the trust of the Iroquois Confederacy, and gave favor to the renegades. So these renegades you see today, they formed this quote-unquote BS Declaration of Independence. But they were renegades. All that means nothing. You got a bunch of renegades saying on a piece of paper, we're independent. That means nothing. They have no self-authority, no sovereign authority. They're not barons or dukes or earls or marquises or duchesses. How can renegades, commoners, in another land that's British subjects now say, well, hold on, 1776, July 4, Declaration of Independence, yes. Be independent. No. It was the Lenape Moors, knuckleheads. They extended that. That's the Confederation. That's the original Confederation. The Iroquois Confederacy. That's the Confederation. And they adopted that from the Iroquois Confederation with the help of the knucklehead Lenape Moors. That board education, Rockefeller crap.
Well, that kind of brings me to the understanding of, as you continue to study, Hell versus Hinkle. I know Hell versus Hinkle deals with, you mentioned the Society versus New Haven that indicates that during wartime, the land, it does not take the land from the original native people, which still stands. So you can go, so these things have happened. So let's look at Hell versus Hinkle. In that case, where it made the distinction between the individual and the citizen, where it defines that.
Well, the Hell versus Hinkle applies to the individual, not to corporations. We're dealing with that. Corporations are not protected with their papers. Their papers can be sieged. Corporations, but not natural persons. Not natural persons. So the natural person is protected under Hell versus Hinkle, where their papers and effects, their personal property, papers and effects, are to be protected. And so they don't have to, give up their personal papers and effects. Now, in the issue with Moors, particularly nationalized Moors, the issue that we need to raise is a treaty issue. Every issue is a treaty issue. This is where we have to be set up. As what Tamara was saying, we have to be organized into government structure. Because you can't make the claim of treaty issue if you're by yourself. With this loose thing that we're doing, we have to organize the people to government structure. And it's the issue making a claim of treaty issue. It's a treaty issue. You start by being, this is violating the treaty. You got the Treaty of the Bay of Tripoli versus the United States. You have the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787. So these are issues of treaty issue. The European freemen group, you see, we can't follow them. We can't. European freemen groups will raise that issue of Hell versus Hinkle. Moors need to raise that issue, but the issue that they need to raise first is treaty violation. You're not going to get this from European freemen groups because they say they're sovereign and they claim their English nationality, English, French nationality, German nationality. They don't talk nationality at all. They're stealing our birthright. The issue that I have with them, when I went, and I said this before, Emily Ford used to, she attended a couple roundtable classes. This is back in 98, I think. 99. And it was some nationalized Moors who were attending her class. They had these freedom classes, quote unquote, freedom classes. Sovereign BS classes. And so I was invited. I didn't know about it. I said, let me go. So Emily was there, another female there, one European Albino woman. And it was myself, Bayama, Sister Diani, she had been going for a while. And there were European males. So we entered an house, Emily Ford's house. And The European males would dap me up, you know. Welcome me, they were very welcome. Alright? It's the kicker now. At the beginning of class, they were very welcome. So, during the course of the presentation, we were around the table, and they were discussing the Dred Scott case. I was the one that raised the issue that Dred Scott was plaintiff in error. Dred Scott, being classified as a Negro, had no standing in law because of that classification. Talk about Dred Scott and Moore being classified as Negro had no standing in law. So now I'm raising the nationality issue. Those same Europe Albions, males, who was dapping me up, you know, welcoming, all right, brother, you call me brother. Same ones turned their back on me at the end of the class.
Where's the love?
I'm raising the issue of nationality. What I do wrong? Raising the issue of nationality. What's up with this? Shucks. I'm like, wow. They're not for our people. They're for themselves. They're trying to maintain our subjugation. I know they put all this information down in the United States Republic, and gold and silver, and the IRS, and Banking Act, and Buck Act, and all that. But they're not raising the more prominent issues of our Moorish nationality, that we didn't come on ships somewhere, that we're the native people's land, that we're the white people, that we're the Americans, that we're the Christians, that we're the Jews, that they're not Americans, that they're not white, they're not Christians, that they're not Jews. They're not the founders, all right? So they're claiming all that. They claim to be Christian, claim to be Jews, they claim to be white, they claim to be Americans, they claim to be founders, but which all of them are not. So of course they ain't gonna like me. I don't care. They're not in it for them to like me. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm not in it for them. I'm not trying to get them to like me. I'm going to speak for truth. I ain't even trying to get all people to like me. I'm going to speak for the truth. I'm not trying to, I didn't know like popularity, trying to get people to like me contest.
Whatever. You're a mess.
I'm being straight up though.
You're a mess. But I want to read this. Hell versus Hinkle. And let's make this distinction. Page 2, it's a federal case. Page 201, U.S. 7475. We are of the opinion that there is a clear distinction in this particular, an individual and a corporation, and that the latter, which is a corporation, has no right to refuse to submit its books, an individual, and papers for an examination of the suit of the state. A suit. Keep that word. The individual may stand upon his constitutional rights, which means that your rights are there before the Constitution. He or she is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. Upon the other hand, the corporation is a creature of the state. It is presumed to be incorporated for the benefit of the public. So there's a public law, understanding up under here, because there's public laws defined. It receives certain special privileges and franchises and holds them subject to the laws of the state and the limitations of its charter. Its powers are limited by law. It can make no contract not authorized by its charter. Okay? In Hale versus Hinkle, the Supreme Court makes a distinction between the individual and the citizen and the corporation. If we look at day in the life of each one, we can ask ourselves, which role have we been playing? Which has been acting as? Have we been acting like a corporation or an individual citizen, as is described in Hell versus Hinkle? The fact that there is a difference and a distinction between the rights and freedom of the two means we have choices about how we can live. If we've been acting like the corporation, we can recognize the alternatives before us and choose something else, something that is in alignment with who we are now and who we are becoming. So that brings us to the misconception of the Moors are not the native people of the land. Who are we then? Let's get into that misconception. Because I know you state a lot of times that I hear you when you're having your blog talks and you'll speak on a lot of different shows. You will make the preamble that we're all part of the collective consciousness. So with that collective consciousness, can we clear up the misconception that the Moors are not the native people of the land?
Definitely it's a misconception. If someone makes that claim that the Moors are not the native people of the land, they never state who is. It's empty. It's meaningless. It's empty. They're just making a statement that the Moors are not the native people of the land. Well, who are they? And they just leave it like that. Well, who are the native people of the land? From that person, you have that person. And how do you know they're the native people of the land? I mean, who are they saying that they're the native people of the land then? All right?
They say it's the Indians.
The ones on reservations. Is that what they're saying? The ones on reservations. All right.
They just say the Indians.
All right, the ones on reservations. All right, no problem. In the book, Unexpected Faces in Ancient America, Unexpected Faces in Ancient America by Alexander von Wutenau, W-U-T-H-E-N-A-W, German. Wutenau, W-A-T-H-E-N-A-U, Wutenau. Unexpected Faces. Why is it called Unexpected Faces? In this book, he has over 100, he has a collection of 10,000 photos. In this book, he has over 150 photos of statues, statuettes, stone heads, faces, and masks, with broad noses and thick lips. Not one of the artifacts, these aren't drawings, these are photos, look like what you see on those in reservations, the one you see in textbooks. So that's a solid claim right there. You said those on reservations, no problem. Well, where's the evidence? Where's the archaeological evidence that they are the ancient people of the land? And don't show me a drawing. Show me a photo or the actual stone heads. So you have all these we have these stone heads that are about what? 10 feet high? That look like me. So we have to use solid evidence. We have to use solid evidence to refute people's false claims. So that's a solid piece of evidence. He has over 10,000 photos. In fact, he came to Iron Van Servan's defense when Iron Servan wrote that letter to Congress that making claims that the Columbus Day should not be celebrated. Iron Servan was attacked by the British Museum, members of the British Museum, the heads of the British Museum. So it was Alexander von Wutenau who came to Iron Servan's defense. But I comprehend why the British Museum would fight so hard, because Dr. Sertimer was putting out solid information, because that
Christopher Columbus' story is that ace in the hole. Remember, they're guardians of our state. They're guardians of our state. So the masses of the people are ignorant. You gotta keep it that way. You gotta keep it that way. Otherwise, this thing falls apart for us. Because you got the heirs of the estate waking up. So we gotta call them sovereign citizens, domestic terrorists, lawless, anti-government, very, very violent. You know, they're waking up. They have a fear. They have a fear. Their fear is that we wake up one day and unite in government structure. They have a fear. Don't you think they don't have a fear? They're going to fight and crawl, fight and crawl, fight and crawl, fight and crawl. But what are we going to do? I'm tired of hearing about what they're doing. What are we doing? Can we at least match their energy? Can we match their energy of oppressing us? Can we match their energy of freeing our people? Can we at least be on the same level of energy? They have their energy of oppressing us, keep us oppressed. But can we rise up with that energy of freeing our people? We ain't there yet, y'all. We ain't there yet. They're there, but we ain't there. Can we match that energy of freeing our people? Because they're going to fight and call. I expect them to do that. They're going to continue to fight. They're going to fight to maintain occupation of our land. I don't expect them not to fight. What are we going to do? You think they're going to lie down? You got another thing coming. What are we going to do? I don't expect them to lie down. But I trust that we can stand up to them. They are cowards. They're descendants of European settlers. They're descendants of English, Irish, French, Scottish, Dutch, Welsh, Polish descent. They're not Americans. They're not white. They're not founders. They're not Christians. They're not Jews. And we're going to challenge the FBI, CIA. Hear me out, FBI, Homeland Security. We're going to challenge their false claims that we're anti-government, that we're lawless, that we're domestic terrorists, that we're very, very violent. What are we going to do to challenge their false claim? That this Moorish movement is a sovereign citizen movement, anti-government, lawless, domestic violence, and very, very violent. We have to challenge that. Because you let that stand, it gives it more strength. That's been going on for 10 years. So we let that stand and don't challenge it. With a constructive notice. You give it strength. There are nationalized Moors that are afraid right now. This is spill talk. The FBI, Homeland Security, and CIA got our people afraid to be themselves. Got our people be afraid to come out of servitude. So what are we going to do? I challenge nationalized boards to stand with us.
Islam. Now, wow, that was deep. Now, when you talk about, when you talk about the land, you talk about nativity, you talk about bloodline, pedigree, lineage, and things of that nature. And there was I would say debate. There's always debate amongst the Moors. There's always debates, and I don't know if these debates are healthy or if they could be, or are they just stopping the progress? It's like a clog in the wheel. It is like a debate with words games. Like, remember that game, Word with Friends? And you got everybody trying to challenge to find the best word? That's what you have. Then it becomes so competitive, you're not even going anywhere. So when you talk about land is tied to the nativity, it's tied to the lineage, the pedigree. Now, who define these origins and standards of how the nativity is set up? How is that defined?
I our ancient mothers, looking at, in the Declaration of Independence, you have the phrase, laws of nature, nature's God. That is an epistemology that the European, we taught the Albions. The laws of nature, nature's God. If you look at anyone who traces, like the Leakeys, let's look at the Leakeys again. The Leakeys were wise enough to trace the whole lineage of the human kinship to an African woman, 3 million years old, that they named Lucy, light of the world. Light, means light, doesn't mean light of the world, means light, light. Why did they name her Lucy? It wasn't, I mean, because they just came up with the name.
No.
Like just came up with the name, and they just happened to come up with the name that means light. No, that's not logical. It's not logical. So as I said, they could trace. This was published in the Times magazine 30 years ago. They traced everyone's mitochondria throughout the world back to Lucy. So this is, now if you took, and there were ancient civilizations is matriarchal and matrilineal. Matrilineal means mother line of descent. So the descent is passed down to the mother side of the family.
But hold on now.
Now,
The father, the argument, the father got to give his sperm, so he's a part of that creation.
right. Once again, they're looking at what's happening today. Women, the reason why a brother would challenge you, or challenge me, not based on research. They're not challenging based on research. They're challenging based on arrogance, self-righteous. That they grew up, girls are weak. That whole, stop acting like a girl. Stop acting like a girl. Which means what? Stop acting weak. They associate weakness with, that's, and women, it's socialization, that's all. Women do it too.
Right, because we talk
It's
about
socialization.
bees and...
Socialization.
Right.
Okay, so you have this embedded socialization of not seeing women as power, as being divine. There were societies all over the world where women ruled. Women were hunter and gatherers. Women were warriors. There you had many ancient sites that they honor their deities, female deities. The male deities came about to the suppression or male imagery, not male deities, male images that misrepresented as deities came about through the suppression of and subjugation of women and the destruction of these ancient deity sites of Venus, the moon, Sirius, you have Pleiades, and so you look at agriculture. Agriculture was predominant. And so you have out of the earth grows vegetation. The earth is a womb. And out of the womb of woman comes what? It's in the side of the womb of woman is nurture. So the woman nurtures that child with her mind and nurture, all right, and she continues to sustain the child, all right, with the breast or colostrum, breast milk. So all this act of nurturing, of fertility, is tied to woman. What is the act of nurturing fertility tied to male? Sirius, the dog star. Why is Sirius is personified as a woman? Why is Venus personified as a woman? Why Pleiades, the 7 stars of Pleiades, personified as women? Why is the moon personified as woman? And this is all tied to agriculture. Where you have the Venus calendar, which is Easter. Easter is Venus. Ishtar. So you have this concept of fertility with women and fertility with nature. Mother Earth. Mother Nature. Where did that come from? Why is it not referred to as Father Earth? Father Nature. And where does this concept of Father God come from? Because that's not ancient. That's not based in the epistemology. That's not ancient. Father God. They didn't have this Father God. It didn't exist like that. People knew mother. They knew female. They knew ancient sites. They saw female deities representing Venus, Pleiades, Sirius the Dark Star, the moon. There were calendars, the Venetian calendar, the moon calendar, Caesarean calendar that we use it today, that was based off the cycles of nature, the cycles of Venus, the cycles of Sirius, the Dark Star, cycles of, and that brought about agriculture, brought about life to sustain our society. So, keeping that in mind, going back to the leakers again, and if anyone who studies insects, biology, they trace it back to the mother, the female. You know, you have the bee, the queen bee that sits in the hive. She's running everything with air drones. So just study nature. Just study nature. We're not studying nature. I plant my seed in her. That means what? What are you saying that you plant the seed in her? They're implying that they're the dominant factor. That if I don't plant my seed in her, nothing happens. She needs me to plant my seed in her. I'm the dominant factor. I plant my seed in her. I make everything go. I am the initiator. I plant my seed in her. And they use that, that's their claim. Alright, so what they did was they usurped not only the Albanians, also Moors. Not only the Albanians, also Moorish men.
Yes.
Usurped, the power. It was the woman was the power. Women, the men took on their wives' names because the wealth was passed down to the mother side. All right, why do we have this witch burning? What was that all about? The witch hunts, witch burnings. Because once again, the women had the wealth, so they had to usurp that. Why did the Abiyad men marry our women? Did they like them? No. To what? Why did they marry women? Man, they gained control of the land. So they have the child. The child what? It's heir. But the Europeans understood that matrilineal line. That's still the case today. They just suppressing it. They can't end that because they didn't establish it. They usurped it. How? By marrying our women.
Okay, so nationality principles are derived from nature. Now, I just had to get this, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 5, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother have given ye suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with the brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And ye separate in the world, remember the relationship that bond thee to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. so shall the fortune of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Number 1, I just want to go back to number 1, chapter 25, number 1. Ye are the children of one father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you suck. Okay, so the nationality principle is through the mother, matriarch or principle. Okay, so as the process unfolds, you say the leaky indicates that 3 billion years ago, it's established through archaeological anthropomorphic data that it can be traced, the DNA can be traced to Lucy. Okay, so, but in cosmetic terms, universal cosmic relations, we all come from one suck. But how in national principles, you see where there's a variation between now the amalgamated Moors and the also the Moabite Moors. I guess what I'm trying to get here is that where is the change, or where is the defining of the nationality principles when it comes to these areas of understanding?
Can we clarify something first? We got
Yeah, yeah.
the father. We got to clarify the father.
Yeah,
Because that's been like.
No, let's clarify the father.
that's been weeding me out when I keep reading that. Ye are the children of one father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you
All
suck.
right, stop there. We got children, one father. Let me clarify. That's, I know that's in there. Please, y'all hear me out.
Get in the mic.
I know that's in there. You are the children of one father. Let's go once again. The Leakeys did not find a male skeletal remain. The skeletal remain that the Leakeys found is a woman's skeletal remain. They traced everyone's mitochondria back to that woman. We are the children of one mother. We are the children of one mother. Continue. We are the children of one mother. Continue.
Provided by his care,
We are the children of one mother by her care,
and the breast of one mother
and the breast of one mother.
have given you suck.
All right, let's read it again. We are the children of one mother
Provided
by her care.
and the breast of one mother has given you suck.
Right. That's your opinion, Abdullah. No, it's not. Give me the epistemology. I want you to give me the epistemology for we are the children of one father. Once again, the Leakeys did not find a male skeletal remain. So give me the epistemology, which is the branch of philosophy of how one knows knowledge, for the statement, we are the children of one father. I'm waiting.
I think we're going to be waiting for a long time.
There you go.
We're going to kind of continue.
All right.
So in that waiting period, do we have any comments, Dr. G, on that waiting period? So we're going to wait till Dr. G find that. So in that waiting period, we're going to look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at the great meeting is on. So let's define that, one mother in this. Because I know when I'm on the phone with Brother Abdullah, he say, man, I said, that was one day I was like frustrated. I was like, stop calling me a man. And he was like, you are a man. I said, well, you know, being a student, I know how to be a student. I know how to be a student. I know when I'm hearing truth. Now, if you're talking crazy, I'm going to let you know right then and there. Tell me just going to go left field on you, and we don't have a conversation. But when you're talking truth, and it resonates within my core, and say, okay, this person is talking truth, we can have that conversation. So when he said, "You are a man," and I was like, "You gonna have to explain that to me." The last time I checked down there, I was good. So explain that.
All right. The word man is shortened in etymology and word formation. You have what's called shortened. Like you have the Jockenstaller. Jockenstaller. Jockenstahl is the word dollar comes from Jockenstahl. So we shorten it to, all right, Jockem to dollar. So Jockenstahl. So you shorten the word. You have another shortened version would be the Philip. Philip, all right, is the word horse lovers. You have hippopotamus. You have philos, all right, and hippos. Philos and hippos. Well, that's not the form. That's what's actually blended. But so shortened. So the word man is a shortened version of humanity. Humanity or humus. So it's humus or humanity. And then out of the word, you got humanity. The word man is just shortened for that. So when they say man, that's used in the Bible, that's fine. But people think man is male. Man, when they're being racist, when they're being sexist, that's not sexist.
I thought the same.
It's not sexist. They're not being sexist. They just can teach you all the etymology of it. So that's not being sexist. My calling you a man is correct. It's just short for humanity. That's all. That's found in English. All right? And so that's a short version from the Greek humanity. That's all that is.
So what would the picture represent that the prophet Noah drew Ali?
Well, this is the first one right here.
Well, this picture is actually it's a derivative from another drawing. It's a Mayan drawing, Olmec drawing that shows the feathers and carrying a woman.
I saw that.
Yes.
Years ago.
Yes. So explain that. Explain
Right.
that.
So Jwali is holding the woman, and on her womb is written humanity. Humanity. Why is humanity on her womb? And there's 9 drops of water dripping from her body. 9 drops of water, representing 9 cosmic months in the womb. And he's standing on 1 foot on land and 1 foot in water. Water representing fertility, and earth, the rock representing earth. And so you have water, solid, and liquid. So you have earth, and you have water. So going back to, once again, the leakies, tracing everyone's mitochondria back to Lucy. That ties right to this, humanity. She's light. Lucy, light of the world, humanity. So where's this father? Where's that based in epistemology though? Where's that based in nature? Like father. Where's that father come from? Why this father? Father God. The word God is origin is Sanskrit. That's Buddha. Allah, Father. Buddha, Father. What is that? Came through usurpation. Because there were societies many societies were predominantly run by women. So that didn't exist. It's not ancient. That didn't father this, father that, father this, father. That didn't exist. This whole concept that millions of people have all over the world did not exist. Father this, father that. It's mother. You didn't know about no father, this giving honor to the father. You see, here you are, you walking, and you see these deities, the Venus deity. You bow to the Venus deity. You know, you don't see no male deity, you bow to the female, you know, the moon. You know, you don't see this other concept. That's usurpation. I can't support that. I can't support it. Because that came about through burning women. That came about through burning women. That's millions of women's blood. And I will not support that. I'm standing for truth. I will not say father.
Okay, so that word is out. So you're touching on also the etymology of words. I know that, well, I know, but everyone may not know. Brother Abdullah, as I indicated earlier, wrote, but actually it's more like a study tool material.
Absolutely.
Etymology of vocabulary is one of the bestsellers, and this is like a recirculation. So the original came out in
2005.
In 2005, and so the recirculation came out this year. So this information, and what I like most about the book is the area of which you kind of, I thought this was great in the book, in the introduction, page 12. Etymology and aid in reading and dictionary study skills, because I didn't know that the word man, humanity, humanity, is derived from that. And you talk about also epistemology and how we know knowledge. I do know that Brother Abdullah is also a professor at Temple, which stands for
Pan-African Studies Community Education Program.
Okay, and in doing so, you've been there for what?
Since 2003 as a teacher to 1998 as a student.
And that was you started as a student?
That's 1998.
Under
Professor Burke.
Okay, so you went from a student to a teacher.
Yes.
That's rare. That's rare. And in doing so, you teach etymology at Temple University, PASAP School. And in the book, let me just read this, indicates that etymology is derived from the Greek root etym, meaning history, origin, true or real, and log meaning study, science, word theory. Etymology is an indispensable discipline used as a foundation for other studies. So that means it's a discipline for like phonetics, morphology, linguistics. What was that? The study of what the language?
Linguistics.
Yes.
Philology too.
Philology. And there's an entire host of them. And you indicate that the origin or derivative of a word is shown by its analysis into elements by pointing out the roots or primitive first upon which it is formed, or by referring to an earlier form in its parent language. Also an account setting forth such an origin or derivative, often which facts bear upon the word's relationship, the form, history of the word. Now, I do know and understand from studying, you talk about language labels. And you hear a lot when people say, oh, Moorish Latin, and I'm looking in the book and I'm saying, I don't remember that being in the language labels. Could you help me out with that?
Yes, I know there's Moors, nationalized Moors who add the word Moorish to Latin. If you look at this, let's start with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship was written in Arabic, not Latin. Muhammad ibn Abdullah signed the treaty in Arabic, not Latin. It was translated into English.
when Moors ruled in Europe, Moors spoke and wrote in Latin. There were 600,000 manuscripts, and they were written in Latin. We have a society called Timbuktu. The society is a Timbuktu. Society of Timbuktu is a restoration society where they were for over 500 years. There were books that were kept by private families, kings, and they were kept in safekeeping for 500 years. So the Timbuktu, Society of Timbuktu, being a restoration society, has gotten a lot of these books and are preserving them. A lot of medical books, medicine, books in astronomy, biology, health, and most of the books were written in Arabic. So where does Latin come from? That the Moors spoke Latin. I mean, where's the evidence that the Moors spoke? I'm giving you evidence. There's a book, there's a show, When the Moors Ruled Europe. It's a documentary about over 3 hours long by Bethany Hughes. She's an English historian. And so she's in Spain doing a documentary, and she interviews a few other historians. She's in a house. This Albion woman has a big room. Ceilings are, higher than these ceilings. And she pulls out a medical book about 11 by 17. 11 by 17, about this thick. And the book is written in Arabic. She didn't pull out a book written in Latin, a book written in Arabic. So I'm listening, I hear this one Latin, when he spoke Latin. When? Not when we rule, all right, I'll tell you when we didn't speak. When we didn't speak. We didn't speak it when we was ruling Europe. Muhammad ibn Abdullah didn't speak Latin. The emperors, the emirs, various Moorish dynasties, 5 Moorish dynasties ruling Europe. The emirs, the caliphs, they all spoke Arabic. The emperors, Moorish emperors, they spoke Arabic. Treaties written in Arabic, translated into English. So where's this Latin? Where is that Moorish spoke Latin? Give me evidence. Point to some evidence. Point to something that I can look up. Let's deal with facts. Norms and facts. Point to some evidence. Some documentary evidence that Moors spoke Latin. Doing our bullshit. Now, and during the Inquisition, when Philip II put out the bull, after his father put out the Pragmatica in 1526, but it wasn't fully carried through until 1557 under Philip II, his son. Moors were forbidden to speak Arabic. That was one of the edicts, and one of the points. And the children were taken away. There were many of the children that were taken away, educated by the clergy, and were forced to speak Castilian or Aragonese, which is a form of Latin. Why would I hold dear to Latin when our ancestors were forced to speak that? I can't hold dear to a language that our ancestors were, though that is but I'm talking about, we were forced to speak that though. That's what I'm saying, we were forced to speak that. It's not something that we vowed, we were forced, we were speaking Arabic. We were still speaking Arabic today. I'm just saying, that show me something, you gotta show me something. Somebody gotta show me something. I'm dealing with facts. All this stuff,
let's, you get on my nerve.
Now, she was the one, now, let me stop, y'all. She said to me, she says, Abdullah, I just want you to come raw. I get the raw of you. I want you, and that's what I'm doing. She said, come, she told me to be like this. She said, just come raw.
I do.
Just be yourself, just be natural, just come raw. That's what I'm doing.
I cheat. I absolutely cheat. I have the ability to be able to just call him on a dime and say, hey, I got something I need to run past you because I'm in my studies. I have never taken the approach since Grand Sheik Tajri Bey said, what do you know about nationality? I did not take the approach. I've always been open to education because I'm a student. I'm a student of life. You know, my family always look at me and say I will be in school for the rest of my life. And I tried to do that. I went through all the different degrees and I got to the point, and I remember when I obtained my master's degree, I felt the sense of something missing. I mean, literally, I was walking across the stage, and as soon as I was handed that degree, I said, this is not it. That's what I said to myself. I don't know why I said that, but I said, this is not it. So I have the opportunity to just call anytime. And I said, you know, a lot of times I know you're preparing for your blog talks and your programs that you're going on, and he put a lot of preparation into those, just in knowing him in a short period of time. I said, I don't want to be next to you feeling like you've been prepped. Like I don't. I want the pick up the phone call conversation that I want to be able to, for everyone else to get that phone call conversation that I get. Because he go deep, and sometimes I just put him on speakerphone and I'm just writing my notes because I go back and verify and study more until I'm able to connect the dots. I'm able to now look at film and see the little breadcrumbs that are sprinkled. And if you look at the Constitution, it indicates that we must preserve the fine arts in film, which means they have to tell you about your nationality. But our people are looking at these things in an entertainment mind, and they're missing the message of what's given. So, yes, I did say I wanted him to go there. In doing so, we're going to get into the etymology of the word. In the Moorish literature, on page 4, the word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word nigger. The word, the same as the word colored, alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent of their, I'm going to say forefathers, I'm going to say foremothers. Forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. You talked about the declaration. Now, I know the word black. We have fell in love with that word, not knowing its etymology, its hidden agenda, the energy, the subjugation that is placed within that word black. I mean, you have Black Lives Matter, you have Black and I'm Proud, Say It Loud, you have Black Girls Rock. Did I say that? Yeah, that one too. You have Black Girls Rock, you have Black Girls Magic, you have I Love My Black Man, and you have I can name a list. I think we can put it on a t-shirt. Black family, Black Silk, and then, there was one time when we, identify ourselves through employment contracts, through any type of bonding application or licensing where you must check your race. And we were programmed to check, I'm black. And then someone came along and decided to be eloquent in his, I don't know what his thing was doing. And no, you're not black, you're African Americans. So we look at this word black and then people saying, well,
Yes.
you know, what's wrong with these Moors? They're saying that we're Moor. You're not black. I can't get with that. I'm black. I love being black. Talk black to me. And you know, you listen to a lot of these blog talks, and then you have people that are they have the platform of the eyes and ears of our people, and on their platforms they say, oh, the black person is being shot down in the street. Oh, the black person is being, pulled over and hassled, and the black man assisted. Let's get into that of itself, because it's like there's a misunderstanding between the complexion and the political status.
Of course, students are listening, definitely clear on that. Absolutely. Now, because of social engineering, we've been conditioned to associate black as an identity. I think it's an identity based on a complexion. That is the social engineering. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Look at you, you're black. I would recall saying to my students that I taught nationalized over 5,000 students in Kansas City Public School, and they would ask me, what are you, Mr. Bell? I'm a Moor. And they would reject my statement of Moor and say, no, you're not, you're black. Look at you. You're black. Look at you. And student, when you come up to the desk and you point to my skin, look at you, you're black. Look, I'm black. That's social engineering, though. That's why they do it. They're social engineering. They're more. Now, when I recall being in the classroom, and there were Moors classified as Puerto Rican, Spanish, Latino in the classroom. So a student was talking about Rihanna, and she was saying, "Oh, Rihanna, is black." And I said, "Excuse me, you mind my asking you why do you call Rihanna black?" She says, "What do you mean?" I said, "What would you call me?" Black. So, and I said, "Well, why would you call me black?" "What do you mean, Mister? What do you mean?" And then a male student said, "Because of what you look like." So I said, "All right, no problem." So I stood up. I said, "So let's say we had a Mexican, my complexion, a Cuban, my complexion, Dominican, my complexion, a Colombian, my complexion. What would you call the Mexican my complexion?" Mexican. What would you call the Cuban my complexion? Cuban. What do you call the Dominican my complexion? Dominican. That's the question. Well, what do you call? So I said, hold on, I'm confused. Confused. Based on what you said that I'm black because of my complexion. I just gave you scenarios. You said that the Cuban is not black, he's Cuban. When I say it's my complexion, well, why wouldn't he be black? Or wouldn't he be black instead? I'm confused, mister, I'm confused. See the social engineering? The social engineering because, all right, the students, their friends, who have this dialect, you know, and speak like me. Because of the social engineering, because they grew up with them, you know, they went to school together, they've been conditioned to call them black. Black. Right? Now, someone who wouldn't have a Nigerian dialect, a Sierra Leone, a Nigerian dialect, or a Congo dialect, they wouldn't call them black. I've seen it. Like there was a teacher, I won't say her name, Michael, darker than me, from Nigeria. And they never called her black. They called her Nigerian. I'm analyzing all this, I'm observing and analyzing, like, wow. Why are they not calling her black? Why are they not calling her black? So is it just a look thing? Because darker than me. So I'm not calling her black. I'm calling her Nigerian, not black. Because she doesn't have the same dialect. That's not somebody they work with. They work with people that have this dialect. This is so they've been conditioned. So that's that's through socialization. Socialization. It don't matter what color you are, black, purple, red. And I recall being in the classroom. There was someone came from a ward classified as black. He worked in the international relations department at Rutgers University. International Relations Department. This was a 5th grade class. He came as a guest speaker. He said to the students during the part of this conversation, it doesn't matter what color you are, purple, orange, red, white, or black. Someone from the Rutgers University International Relations Department had the audacity to tell a 5th grade class to make the statement like that to a 5th grade class. When he did that, I put my head down and shook my head in disgust. International relations. I shook my head in disgust. See, social engineering. That's all it is. And it has, and Tamara and I talk about this all the time, and I must say I'm disappointed with us, nationalized MOORS, we qualify us, not our people, but nationalized MOORS. I am disappointed, yes I am. Don't go wrong. She told me to go wrong, I'm going wrong. Yes, I am. I am disappointed with nationalized MOORS. We do not have one presence in any of our community in our country. We do not have one visible presence in any community in our country. Not one. We stay behind our phones, Facebook, Twitter, you know what I mean? And that's good, so I'm not minimizing that. We stay in a building, but we don't go out to the community. We don't have any festivals, nothing. No cleanup, nothing. Nothing. They don't see the turbulence, there's nothing in the community. We don't have any activity that's outside the doors. We don't have that. Disappointed in nationalized MOORS. I've had my newspaper, I've worked with several newspapers over the years. on all over the country, different parts of the world. We have to, and I can make the challenge, it ain't gonna mean anything. We're gonna still stand behind our phones. We're not gonna get outside our comfort zone. So I can make the challenge to y'all, ain't gonna mean anything. Y'all not gonna go outside your comfort zone. You're not going outside your comfort zone. So your comfort zone is the phone, Twitter, Facebook, battle each other on Facebook, doing shit. Look at this, done that, you know, all that dumb stuff we doing and all that. I mean, but we're not going outside our comfort zone, so there's no need for me to make the challenge. I know we're not.
Okay, so what's wrong with, okay, the complexion, got that. What's wrong with me calling myself black? Like, brother, what's wrong with that? I get that, you know, it say, well, you know, okay, like if I compare myself to this cloth, it's visible that the cloth is black and we don't match up. And one would say, well, you're more of a brown color, and they say hue. And one, you know, you hear the definition of a copper tone, things of that nature. Okay, so you establish that. I'm not black as far as complexion, but what is the problem with me raising my fist and saying I'm black and I'm proud? I think a lot of our conscious boys don't understand that because, you know, they enjoy rocking those sparkly t-shirts and, being able to go to the concerts and party with that type of, the slogan, I'm black and say it loud, James Brown provided them that civil unrest after Martin Luther King was assassinated. That was one of the things that he had to provide to our people to keep from tearing up the entire nation. So just give them something to dance to. Give them like, a 440 megahertz tune that's going to make them move and forget about, their leader was just assassinated. So, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's what one would say.
The United Nations Human Rights Proclamation, Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, Section 1 and 2. Section 1, Article 15, everyone has a right to a nationality. Section 2, Article 15, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality. United Nations Declaration of the Rights of the Child, Principle 3, every child at birth shall have a right to a name and nationality. And the word nationality is the word nation. Nation, national, nationality. There is no nation that is called black. Black does not tie as, what's his name? Professor, he transitioned, not Johann. John Henry Clark, thank you. John Henry Clark, you look this up, stated that black does not tie people to a culture, a land, and culture, he said, a culture, a land, and identities. So, language. So but he continued to call the people black though. So it's like, John Henry Clark, though he eloquently said that, but it's not something that he's not known for that. John Henry Clark's not known for that statement and expanding upon that statement. That's like a flash in the pan, like a by the way statement. But it's not something that he's solidly taught. He's known for teaching people that they're black. So it's quite evident that he knew that this black didn't tie us to a land, a culture, language.
So
but yet he continued to push it though. I don't get that. Why you would continue to push it, even if you didn't know the identity of people. You knew that we're not black, though. So why you just say, make it very clear it doesn't tie, so I continue to call the people black, knowing it doesn't tie us to a land, a culture. It disconnects us. So it doesn't tie us, that means what? It disconnects us. Alright? Farrakhan, my buddy. Yeah, right. Farrakhan said in July 1995, and remember he was doing 2 years before the march, Let Us Make Man and Stop the Killing tours. 2 years before the march. And all over the country. Well, one of his stops was Columbus, Ohio. July 1995. 10,000 people. Farrakhan said during the course of his presentation, this is not this is like Stop the Violence and Let Us Make Man. He says, black is used for inanimate objects. Negro Sabato, black shoe. But if you're talking about human beings, use another name. Morenos. These are black people. It's the correct quote. July 1995, Columbus, Ohio. You don't know that remorse? For him to make that clear, crystal clear statement that black is used for inanimate objects. But if you talk about human beings, you use another name. Morenos. And then went on to say black people. These are black people. These are black people. Of course, it went over people's heads because it was just a flash. That was just, he just put that in there. But it's Let Us Make Man, whatever, Stop the Violence. So now it connected with me because I was conscious. So I picked it up. But somebody who's not conscious is just, yeah, very done. Yeah, very done. You know.
Okay, we have an online statement. Charles Carnage Bay. James Brown never said, I'm black and I'm proud. He said, say it loud. Okay. If you have a song that says, say it loud, and you have what you call the hook, you have the hook and you have the jingle, which is, now they call it a hook for a reason. Catch that. It's called a hook for a reason. Study music. The hook said, I'm black and I'm proud. However, we know James Brown was not the most astute political forerunner out there. And a lot of them were used. They were used. Even Martin Luther King realized that his final hours that he was used. So, in your hook that became very famous and reigned dear and near in the community of which he attempted to soothe for others, it was never once said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that hook to go forward. So, you could be guilty by omission. You could be guilty by commission. So, if you have a song and it say your hook is I'm black and I'm proud, but you're only saying say it loud, he might well damn say it too. It don't matter. You allowed it, you profited from it, and then the profiteering created a mindset of being proud in the subjugation of your oppressor. So can we kind of see that's what we talk about, the back and forth rhetoric of no, that wasn't said. He didn't say I'm black and I'm proud. He said, say it loud. Whether I'm black and I'm proud came out of his mouth, it's his damn song. The bottom line, it is his song. Has it been retracted? No. Is his family probably still receiving royalties from it? Yes. So we're gonna leave that one alone and move forward, because it was said, it's still being said, and our people has been programmed to that hook to be okay with being oppressed. That's my thought on that.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go again. You gotta stop this. They killing us, y'all. I'll be honest. They're killing us. Vaccines causing autism. Being used as medical guinea pigs. Smallpox in the water, the Tuskegee experiment, Market Basket, Planned Parenthood, they're going, population control. They're killing us, and we are spending time on this.
That was like 2 minutes, not really needed.
Oh my gosh. Man.
And that's
It sounds so critical, but damn.
Can we all? One thing Rodney King did say, can we all just get along?
She told me to come like this.
But you know, we're gonna take this train and move it forward, because I know one thing that we definitely like to thank Dr. Gilliam for allowing this platform to continue to move forward, even during the sacrifices that are made. And one of the things we did talk about is getting out into the community and speaking to our sisters and brothers who assume that this is a Masonic lodge. And that assumption can be cleared up.
Absolutely.
It can be cleared up. Well, this is a place for as the people that tune in, visit, travel, navigate from Kentucky, BC, Maryland, Texas, all over, and they come here and they know that this is a place of free thought, self-discovery. We teach Moorish science for all ages. So this is not where you don't need a babysitter. You can bring your children with you. And that way it's learning for the entire family. So, and that's another, I got it, Kin folks, I got it. It's for the entire Kin folks, I got it. And so we still learn that. And so in doing so, we talk about not only the etymology of the word, you also talk about the astronomical, and you talk the physical. You talk about the physical independence, and then you also talk about the astronomical independence. It takes place naturally. Like I can recall just recently, I was in, I call it NOLA. I was in NOLA, and it was during I was there during the time period it leads up to the Declaration of Independence, which is the celebration of the 4th of July. And I remember on my phone where it talks, there's all the messages about the lining of the Sirius and the Helical Rising. I'm like, wow, this is independence. It's happening at noon. And then at nighttime, everyone was running and gathering at the waterfront. And I was like, well, independence kind of already happened at noon. So what is this part? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a theatrical for what people really can't see. They are not seeing that the declaration, they're not seeing that process occurred astronomical before the fake fireworks even go off. So, and a lot of times you hear Moors say, I'm not celebrating that.
Social engineering.
I'm not celebrating Christmas.
Social engineering.
The hell with Thanksgiving. New Year's, what's that? That's the fall of the Red House. But you forget about the astronomical part that comes before the part that's placed together. So, as we talked about in the principles of individuality and citizen and corporation, there's a natural element that occurred before the creation of the things that the corporation put in place. So let's talk about that. I know you talk about, a lot of times you talk about happy holiday Moors. You talk about that. And the response is like, I don't know. When I left the doctrines of man, I made it a point to keep myself open to truth, because I did not want to leave one and go into the subjugation of another. I just thought that would be crazy. Like, shit, I might as well, they say if you're scared, stay in church. I wanted the truth. After my master's degree, I said, this is not it. I wanted the truth. So in wanting to know the truth, you can, in this movement, there's so many different variations that's put out there of the truth. That's why it's so important to study and really learn and understand. Thank you, Dr. G. I felt like I was screaming. To really study and learn and understand, understand all areas, like especially when you're dealing with astrology. I was had the fortune to sit up under the tutelage of our brother Hassan Hassan Bey. I'm just gonna say Hassan Bey. Look him up, Facebook. Great. Gaziel Bey. Yes, Hassan. I had the great fortune of learning the foundation of things of astrology through him. And through that process, I learned so much about myself. And then I learned so much about the Bilio Helios, of which I thought I was leaving behind. But I've learned within that there's also messages that also connects astronomically as well. So it's also important to understand, to really understand etymology in history. I think where I was, it was more fortunate for myself is that I took a year and dove into etymology and cleaning up the language. So when I started reading a lot of law books and things, my comprehension of things started clicking a lot faster because my language was cleaned up first. And a lot of people like to dive into the law but still have their language to be still misconstrued. We had our brother Aaron L., who held written workshops here. And he will continue to come back as well. And I thought it was more important where he explained the importance of etymology in connection with law. You also have Father Hannibal Bay, who's taught adept science. He talked about the origins and the adept science of a much deeper society, the Lemurian society. So these things are important to be able to connect the dot. And I love the way, and I know we're going to really go, I know Brother's going to wrap this up with a happy holiday, because this is a great way to wrap the understanding of this up. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take the mic, Brother Abdullah.
Happy holiday.
All right, I have our book. This is Tamara gave me this title. I had a long title.
Oh my God.
So she said the title's too long. So this is the title she came up with. My new book that's coming out in a couple weeks. How Her Moon and Venus Rule. So this is part of the book. This is part of the book. Happy holiday. We all can say that. I know we parrot it. And that's my, why is on Friday the holy day? Because that's the day man made the flesh. Well, why not Monday? Why not Saturday? Why not Tuesday? Why not Wednesday? Why not Thursday? Why Friday? What's the epistemology of it? Is that arbitrarily done? Or are you just repeating that? You read it somewhere and you're repeating, and that's the day man made the flesh. Why that day? All right, I'm going to that's now. Why that day? Man made the flesh.
Actually, Quran questions, Moorish Americans. Let me see here. It's question number 22. Which is our holy day? Friday. Number 23. Why? Because Friday is the day of which man was formed in flesh, and it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh.
All right. Why Friday? Why Friday? What's the key about Friday? Man was formed, the day that man was formed into flesh. So we're looking at some creation, concept of creation, fertility here. All right. Yeah.
No.
Oh, L.
You
No, that's right. I was right. Yeah. T-L-I.
I-T-Y.
Yes, thank you. So, the day that man was formed into flesh, and the day that man departed. Now, if you look at the etymology of the word Friday, you start there. The Old Norse word is Frigga, and this is they call it the goddess of fertility that represents the planet Venus. The planet Venus is referred to as the goddess of fertility. Why Venus? Why is Venus associated with the moon, with today Friday? All right? Why is Venus associated? Why is the concept of creation, forming something into flesh, is concept of creation? So why is the concept of creation? So we have the forming into flesh and departing out of flesh. So we have the concept of creation and what? Regeneration. All right, so we have a cycle here. Formation, all right, and the ending of a cycle. You form, and there's also the process in which the day which man departed. All right? So let's look at that. We have what's called the helical rising of Venus. The helical rising of Venus is ancient knowledge. The Mayans, the Babylonians charted Venus. Venus has been charted for thousands of years. We're looking at the charting of Venus for agricultural purposes. Charting Venus's rise, with the helical rising of Venus, occurs during mid-March to mid-April. And that is when you have your raining season. Now, it's very important to chart the helical rising of Venus, which brings about the onset of raining. Because you have to know when to plant. So you have the Venus calendars. The Germans took the Venus one, there was 5 of them, and one of them that survived is called the Germans called it the Dresden Codex, named after Dresden, Germany. And the Codex is housed in the Royal Museum, it's housed in the German Royal Museum in 1717. So this is a calendar that charted, one of the calendars that charted the cycles of Venus. So Easter, the name Easter, comes from the name Astarte. Ishtar. The name for Venus. The Europeans, through social engineering, associated a male figure with this name.
That's why I said I don't, that male stuff. They associated male figure with his name. This is a female name. So why would you associate a male figure with this name? This is Venus. So it's personified as a woman. So Venus, this five-pointed star, it's in the Moorish flag and it's in many other flags, is every 584 days you have the Earth and Venus conjunction. So there's numbers. Here we go. So you got 1, 584 days. 584 days later. All right. 2, 584 days later. 3, 584 days later. 4, 584 days later. 5, 584 days later. That occurs in 8 Earth years and 13 Venus years. 13 Venus cycles. 8 Earth years and 13 Venus years. So you got 13, there's an 8 and 13 again. That number 8, and you see a pentagon or a hexagon, an octagon is used as a symbol for the 8 Earth, for this. Octagon is associated with this. Why? Because it takes 8 Earth years to complete the cycle. So you use an octagon as a symbol to represent 8 Earth years in which the cycle completes and it starts again. So every 260 days, for 260 days, Venus rises before the sunset. That's called the Venus, the morning star, referred to as Lucifer or light bearer. So the Statue of Liberty, holding the torch, that's Venus, the torch bearer or light bearer. Why? Because Venus is very bright. Once again, it rises before sunrise. So you can see it. Brightest day. Rising before sunrise for 260 days. Then what? It sets. It rises after sunset. So it rises after sunset. So it can be seen for 260 days after sunset. That's called, so you have Venus as the rising star. All right? So 260 days. And Venus as the falling star. So 260 days. So this knowledge was known in many societies. It was dependent on for their survival. So this star is not just a five-pointed star to make, they put this there so it can make it look good. I mean, it makes it really look good and interesting. It's five-pointed star, no. We didn't do things like that. This has meaning. I'm explaining it. So you have, once again, the day that man was formed into flesh, right? Venus. So you talk about forming into flesh, talk about creation. This is used for planting. This knowledge is used to win the plants. You talk about constant connection to creation. What's being created? What's being grown for the earth? Harvest. Corn maze. Other vegetation.
Cornucopia.
So that's a concept of creation there. The day in which man left. Departed. So the departing is where Venus for 260 days, which Venus rises after the sun sets. That's what that is.
Also, the first 8 cells of life is mitosis, and those are the first 8 cells that settle in your soccer. So Venus again, creation.
Absolutely.
There we go.
So that's what that because Friday is Venus. This is Old Norse, Freda. Friday is Venus. So once you do trace the etymology of the word Venus and what it's connected to, Friday. So why? That's how I did it. That's how I connected to Friday. Frida.
Well, brother, I hate to cut your wisdom. We are definitely out of time, and I really enjoyed it. So, do you have any final words? I know, just want to reintroduce your books again.
Yes, we have my upcoming book, How Her Moon and Venus Rules. You can get that. You can take the pre-orders. You can call me at 215-300-5471. Let me just do this real quick. To pre-order for the book will be 40. 215-300-5471, or email me at etymology vocabulary @gmail.com.
And put the website up there too.
.com. Yes, and the website Moors and Masonry. Moors and Masonry. It will be 40. It's gonna be a little bigger than this. This is Tamara's suggestion, which is a good suggestion. She suggested that we have it around this size, 5.5 by 8, so that women can put it in their pocketbook. All right, that was the suggestion, motivation for that. All right.
You also have, you can go online to the website MOORS-MUURS-MOORISCH.com. You have Moors and Masonry. You can also get that book online. You have the Masonic Compass and Square and their connection to measurement and timekeeping. The book is online as well. And you also have, oh boy, we're running out of space here. You have etymology and vocabulary. You can also publish etymology and vocabulary online. Go to moorsandmasonry.org.
What's the book for How Her Moon and Venus Rules? Coming real soon.
Any final words? Any final words before we kind of rock out for the evening? Well, I guess he's kind of tired. So what we're going to do, we'd like to thank you for coming out and tuning in to House of Reawakening Minds as we dove into this topic, America versus United States citizen. Make America great again. Our upcoming events, we have our Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey, who will be coming forth Friday the 17th. The topics will be posted on our Facebook page. Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey will be lecturing on that Friday. Once again, we'd like to thank you for coming out and tuning in to House of Reawakening Minds, and you have a wonderful evening. Islam.